yeah. Gold bells shining, they all dare. Tougher, fists held high. Warriors fight till the night says die. FWE, where battles divine. Every broken bone, all by design. Chained to the thrill, they let it be. This ain't a game, it's FWE. FWE, where battles define. Every broken bone, all by design. Chained to the thrill, they let it be. This ain't a game, it's FWE. Oh, FWE, FWE. Oh, FWE, FWE.
Good evening, FWE Universe. Welcome inside the Fantasy Zone. Can you believe it? We are just one mere week away from the showcase of the Immortals. 1 week. This time next week, we will be at FWE Paramount. I'm Seth Cole, alongside of Jack Mitchell. Jack, that's been a long, hard road to get to this point. We are finally in the home stretch. It's all gas here as we head towards our biggest PLE here in FWE.
All gas, no brakes, just 1 week away from the biggest show of all of them. We'll be in Orlando this time next week. I'm looking forward to it. Let's go.
Introducing the challenger, representing the queen from overseas.
Well, Ariel, a former multi-time women's hardcore champion, gonna be the first of 8 participants here as tonight in the Go Home show, the Female Fighting Championship will be put on the line. Last saw it defended inside of Elimination Chamber back at Mortal Kombat. Shigo, the current champion, but can she go in to FWE Paramount still with that title in hand? It won't be defended at Paramount, but hey, you'd love to start out the new season here in FWE as the holder of that title belt.
Absolutely, that would be the best way to get things started after Paramount is holding the championship. So it'll be very interesting to see if Shigo is able to hold on to that. No longer having to worry about the Elimination Chamber, though. This is just a standard Battle Royal match.
And from London, England,
We go from a former hardcore champion to a former women's champion in Cruella de Vil, the very first women's world champion here in FWE. And for Cruella de Vil right now, I mean, she's, I believe, let me double check, I believe she's also a former hardcore champion. No, she's a former fighting female champion, so she could actually be a 2-time winner of that belt. I thought for a moment there she might be going for 3 of the 4, maybe try and be a Grand Slam champion here, but no, trying to join Harley Quinn and Nebula as a 2-time female fighting champion here in FWE. Yzma looking for her first title belt here in FWE. Of course, her mates out of the Emperor's New Groove stable, they've been able to find success here in FWE. Kuzco and Kronk, former men's Disney Tag Team champions. Kuzco himself, a former Wayfinder Cruiser champion. Yzma maybe trying to look to complete the sweep here for that faction if she can claim championship gold in this Battle Royal.
Wouldn't be a total sweep because they're all past champions, but of course it would be very nice for that faction if Yzma is able to get some championship gold around her waist for the first time here in FWE.
Of course, as we've documented just moments ago, of course, we're going to have FWE Paramount next week, but then 2 weeks from tonight will be the season premiere, the new season here in FWE, and an opportunity here for these 8 women to either win, or in the case of Shigo, retain the Female Fighting Championship heading into that brand new season.
And a new season can mean new twists and turns. You know, there could be a lot of things coming at us that we're not ready for. So it'll be very interesting to see what the higher-ups in FWE have planned.
Well, we've seen here in the past in FWE a lot of men and women make their debut on the roster and make an impact. I mean, you can kind of go back, talk about Autumn Brooks, how she was able to make an impact in that pinfall victory in an open challenge against the Women's World Champion. I would think the Poison Ivy probably could be up there in terms of what she's been able to do in a very young career here in FWE. We ended up seeing her win that eliminator match, that fatal four-way, in which the champion Elizabeth Swan was involved. We ended up seeing her take Elizabeth Swan to the limit in a one-on-one matchup. Of course, that ended up leading to the attack by Mulan on the Women's World Champion, but Poison Ivy's been making quite a name for herself here in the early going of her FWE career and might be able to get the Female Fighting Championship here tonight.
I would say she has more than earned the opportunity based on her short but very impressive resume so far.
Now, we saw Ursula last week taking on Jessica Shelton, a little maybe warm-up match, if you will, for the challenger for the hardcore title. Ursula, I don't know what it is, but it kind of seems like wherever Ariel goes, Ursula is soon to follow. We ended up seeing Ariel have to go through Ursula to be a #1 contender for the hardcore title about a month and a half back, and now Ursula in this battle royal at the same time that Ariel is.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a feeling that that'll come to a head at some point soon. I would keep an eye on that further down the line. We could have a match between the two.
Saw right there just moments ago. Next week, October 30th, Halloween Eve, FWE Paramount, the showcase of the Immortals. We already know at least 6 matchups that are going to be taking place. We might have a 7th depending on tonight's main event, and we are still determining one more of our competitors later on as well for a triple threat for the Intercontinental Championship. Elastigirl, another female here on the FWE roster that is still looking for championship gold. It's had a couple of good showings here in FWE, including a pretty good matchup against the current Women's World Champion, Elizabeth Swan. Losing effort there, but we talk about it all the time, Jack. I mean, we could even go to the case of the couple of challengers we have fighting for the men and women's world championships at Paramount, Ernie the Elf and Mulan. All it takes is just one match, one win, and the momentum can completely shift in your FWE career.
Absolutely. One win is all it takes to launch you into basically superstardom. So this could be a massive win tonight for Elastigirl if she's able to come out on this one on top.
And from Jackson, Mississippi, Emily.
We ended up seeing a very stiff matchup a couple of weeks ago as Ellie and her tag team partner Katniss Everdeen took on Disney Strong Style in a losing effort in that mini tournament we've had to determine the new #1 contenders for the Women's Disney Tag Team Championships. Ellie ended up losing for her team via a count out, and so I don't know, maybe a little extra motivation, a little bit of frustration maybe carried into this battle royal.
Absolutely. I mean, you never love to lose by countout. It's one of the unfortunate parts of pro wrestling is that every now and then sometimes you just get taken out of the ring for a little bit too long, not able to recover and get back in the ring inside before the referee hits the count of 10. It sucks, but it's how a match can be won sometimes. You know, you never want to live with that, but Ellie here going to try and gain a little bit of redemption for herself in the singles picture as well.
And remember, not that far before that count out loss, Ellie had a massive uppercut that was kicked out of at, I believe it was at 1, and that shocked everybody, including Ellie, so maybe a little extra motivation here as stated. So I believe we've got all 7 of our challengers out here at ringside. They now await the incoming champion.
I feel like we've seen a lot of ridiculous kickouts at this point. You saw Poison Ivy kick out of the Pirate's Plunge.
Yep.
Which has never happened before.
Introducing the champion, representing Toxic Attraction from the internet, the female fighting champion,
Now, Shigo, we saw successful in gaining the female fighting championship inside of the Elimination Chamber at our last PLE, Mortal Kombat, taking the title from Nebula. Shigo, a former tag team champion, so now her second title belt here in FWE, first singles title belt here for one half of Toxic Attraction.
Probably really thankful here. She doesn't have to worry necessarily about the massive steel structure surrounding the ring. This is just going to be a standard 8-woman battle royal, so that both feet have to go over the top rope, and then both feet have to hit the floor, of course. So that's how these battle royal matches are won. Last one left standing in the wing is your new hero of China, female fighting champion.
And you know, obviously with 7 other competitors, the odds seem stacked against the incumbent champion, but twice we have had battle royals like this in which the champion going in has been the champion going out. Both Harley Quinn and Nebula have been able to retain the title in this type of a matchup. They are both former 2-time champions here with the Female Fighting Championship. Cruella de Vil, Katniss Everdeen, the other 2 former champions.
And if you're wondering, you know, I feel like this thought might be going through the back of some people's minds. If you're wondering why Nebula has not necessarily tried to throw herself into this picture and maybe go for a bit of a rematch, well, she's got a bit of tag team action to worry about later tonight.
Teaming with her sister Gamora, the Daughters of Thanos taking on the Avengers represented by Shuri and Black Widow. To your point, that's the finals for the #1 contendership for the women's tag team titles. Belle and Rapunzel will defend those belts at Paramount next week. They are waiting to see who their future opponents are going to be, and that's getting determined here this evening in this go-home show.
Our champion is currently in trouble. You see that turnbuckle on the bottom right. Shigo just barely able to get out of that pressure, though, from Poison Ivy.
I don't know why. I mean, obviously Poison Ivy is teamed with Harley Quinn, Shigo teamed with Kim Possible, but I kind of feel like Poison Ivy and Shigo would make a formidable tag team.
I feel like they would, yeah. Sometimes you can see interesting alliances form. You maybe don't expect that they would be as formidable as a tag team, and then you see them work together in the ring so well, and it turns out that they can work together.
Absolute chaos going on right now here. Shigo in trouble again. Ariel tried to go for the elimination, and Yzma stopped her, which is kind of surprising there. Normally, you're more than willing to let somebody do your dirty work in a battle royal, but a little bit of a safety net, if you will, for Shigo to keep her opportunity of retaining the title alive.
Probably very grateful that that happened, too, because that would have guaranteed us a new champion after the first elimination.
Ursula's got Ariel up there against the ropes. I believe Ariel just fought out of it. Shigo with a submission here on Ellie. You can't win by pinfall or submission here, but you can certainly wear down your opponent enough that they're not able to stop you from throwing them over the top rope, having both feet hit the floor for an elimination.
Shigo just ducked a punch by Ursula. Oh, look at the strength.
Wow.
Yzma lifting Ursula up and just dropping her right to the ring canvas.
I'm not going to wager a guess of how old Yzma is. I mean, I think she probably saw the last dinosaur go extinct or something, but that's deceptive strength there is now eliminates Elastigirl.
Elastigirl, the first one out of the matchup. Definitely not the type of momentum she was looking for going into this match.
Didn't sound like the crowd was all that thrilled about the elimination of Elastigirl either. Big knee there, takes down Ursula. Ursula obviously the biggest opponent here in this matchup. Maybe, I mean, we saw the move there by Yzma, so maybe there's an argument to be made, but one would certainly think in terms of physique, Ursula would be the strongest competitor here. As you say, we normally in Battle Royals see some strange alliances, and a lot of time there's alliances to try and eliminate that bigger opponent, that biggest threat.
Everybody just got sent to their floor at the same time. But yeah, you're
And there goes
absolutely right.
Ariel.
There goes Ariel.
Eliminated.
Poison Ivy eliminates Ariel, so Ariel will not be a future female fighting champion, at least at this point in time.
Yeah, back to your point though, Seth, I think it's absolutely key that sometimes they focus together on the bigger participant in the matchup, because it can be pretty difficult by yourself, unless, of course, Yzma does something again.
Clothesline to Ursula, then gets fed with a backstabber by Poison Ivy. It's one of these type of matchups where you have to have your head on a swivel. More than likely, as soon as you dish out punishment, somebody is right there behind you to dish out punishment to you, and Shigo's going to eliminate Poison Ivy from this battle royal.
Eliminated.
Still before halfway in this matchup, so not necessarily the greatest of circumstances there for Poison Ivy.
Now Ellie's in trouble here on the near side, and she's gone. There goes
Shigo's
Shigo!
gone.
A competitor.
So there's a guaranteed new champion here tonight. Only one of these women have formally held this title belt. That is Cruella de Vil. Ursula and Yzma looking to win this belt for the very first time. Cruella trying to take Ursula out by herself, and she will.
A competitor has been eliminated.
And we're down to 2. A former champion
Oh,
of
look
this
out.
type of a matchup. You don't want to be showboating up there by the top rope. And there goes Cruella! And just like that, for the first time in her FWE career, Yzma is a champion.
Female fighting champion.
I don't know what was going through the mind there of Cruella. She looked like she was in position to win this matchup, but she showboated for just a little bit too long. Yzma took full advantage. She's the new female fighting champion. More FWE continues on the Go Home show right after this. Since losing the Wayfinder Cruiser Championship inside the Elimination Chamber, I've had a minute to reflect. I got this opportunity because I wanted to become a double champion. I felt like I had done everything to earn the opportunity. And when I was given that chance, I made the most of it. I became the first person in FWE to hold 2 singles titles simultaneously. And I said that it was the start of the Jack Mitchell era. And then we got to Mortal Kombat, and I felt all of my momentum come crashing down. I wanted to have a double champion moment at the biggest show of them all, and that's not going to happen. But I am still the world champion, and that's a whole lot bigger than just me. This is the North Star of the industry, and it means the entire company is on my back. I am responsible for maintaining the integrity of the sport and for giving the people a champion worth celebrating. But make no mistake, while it may not be all about me, the Jack Mitchell era does not end here. This title still represents that I am the greatest wrestler in the world, and I will not let the underhanded tactics of some little elf undermine all of that. At FWE Paramount, I'm going to prove that I'm the best to ever step inside this ring, and I look forward to walking out the same way I walked in. Still, your Tri-Wizard World Champion.
One of these days, everyone will know. But for now, I stand alone. I count my enemies like trophies. I wear my scars so they can show me. Now I've got nothing left to prove. So when I look at you, all I see are trophies, trophies. I'm not afraid. To put it all on the line like it was in my veins.
FWE Paramount on the horizon. Here you can just feel the anticipation as now we get ready to determine the final competitor inside of the triple threat for the Intercontinental Championship.
The following contest is a fatal four-way match. Making his way to the ring, representing the Disciples of Darkness from the pits of hell. Weighing in at 220 pounds, the Warden.
Jack, we already know that Robbie Gilvin gonna be putting that DC Comics Intercontinental Championship on the line in 1 week's time. We know Carlos Zimmerman has advanced his way into that triple threat, winning his fatal four-way qualifier. Can you imagine if Hades is the third man in that matchup? My goodness.
Good luck to anyone else standing in the middle of that ring, to be honest with you. Hades is one of the bigger competitors we have here in FWE, and he's hell-bent, it seems, to have championship gold around his waist.
I'm just kidding. I wouldn't change a thing. I'm serious.
Been a while since we've seen Hades inside of a wrestling ring. If I'm not mistaken, I believe the last time we saw him was back at the Mixed Match Challenge tournament we had, the Fairly Odd Partners, when he teamed up with Maleficent, and that team did very well, advancing very far into that tournament. But now back here in a singles capacity, if you will, in an FWE ring, and an opportunity to be able to go to Paramount. I mean, fatal four-ways, they're difficult to win, but this is almost kind of like the Willy Wonka golden ticket. You get the first pinfall, first submission here, you're going to be on the grandest stage of them all.
Absolutely. So even more motivation for anybody to try as hard as they possibly can to win the match. And I can actually tell you how far they went in that tournament. Mike Rum do his job here.
Weighing in at 163 pounds, Prince Ali.
Aladdin making his way to the ring here, but Hades' team went to the finals where they lost to Gamora and yours truly, the
Okay.
team known as YSK Mitchell. So
I thought that they went to the finals, but I didn't have the stats in front of me right here, so I didn't want to look like an idiot and say it if it was wrong. I thought in my head that they might have gone to the finals, though.
yeah, that's completely fair, but they did indeed go to the finals. Me and Gamora were able to take them down, and I will say the portions of that match between me and Hades were a little bit one-sided, not in my favor, so I haven't been shy about taking on the big guys before, so maybe one day there's a match between me and Hades in the future.
And from Camelot, weighing in at 165 pounds, Flynn!
Looks like we're starting to have a bit of a theme here, as so far all three individuals that have made their way down to the ring out of the Disney franchise. Hades, of course, out of Hercules. Aladdin, of course, out of Aladdin. And Flynn Rider out of Tangled. As a matter of fact, Flynn Rider and Aladdin, if I'm not mistaken, at one point in the early days of FWE, they were actually a tag team together. So a couple of buddies going to be going at it here. Only one can advance to Paramount in this fatal four-way.
It's been a minute since we've seen either of them in the ring, too. I can't remember the last time we've seen Flynn Rider or Aladdin go toe-to-toe with anybody inside the squared circle, so it'll be very interesting to see how they perform.
We've said this though, right? There have been a lot of people we haven't seen in a while, but we get closer to Paramount, they start coming out of the woodwork. The opportunity is there, and everybody wants a shot.
Speaking of which,
Well,
343 pounds.
do I even bring up any background on him, or do I let you do it? Because you've been in the ring with this guy for a lengthy amount of time.
I don't think we need to. I think the background is already there. Go back and watch episode 5 if you're not familiar.
I guarantee you right now, I would not want to be Aladdin or Flynn Rider. You look on one side of the ring, you've got Hades. You look on the other side of the ring, you've got Thanos. That could be an unholy alliance here, and those two big men may try and settle this fatal four-way out between the two of them.
I sincerely hope that the ring is going to be reinforced here. We've already seen a recent matchup, I think, on FWE Extra where Maui was involved in a match against, I don't remember who. It was
Hulk.
Hulk, yeah, Hulk. So, man, this ring is being tested, that's for sure. This ring integrity.
Two men already locked in, one via being the champion, one through his qualifying matchup. One man remains here to determine that triple threat for the Intercontinental Championship next week at Paramount. As I recall, our first Fatal 4-Way qualifying match went pretty lengthy. Nobody was really able to get a clear path to a pinfall or a submission. We'll see if anybody here of these four competitors can make quick work, or will it be a test of endurance once again?
Look at the size.
Look how short referee Ernest Wright is right now.
Just effortlessly lifting Flynn Rider onto his shoulders was Hades.
It looks like the path is clear here for Aladdin and Flynn Rider, kind of splitting off here. Each one trying to take down a big man himself. I almost wonder if they'd be smart to do a 2v1 against one of the other there, Hades or Thanos. As Thanos with a big slam to Flynn Rider. Aladdin, though, taking it to Hades in the early going. Nice Hurricane Rana.
I was gonna say, Aladdin's got a hold of his own in this matchup so far. Another DDT, gonna go into
Cover
the cover
right
here.
out of the gate. Could this be it? And Flynn Rider was going to make sure that didn't reach 3. I mean, again, as I said, both Aladdin and Flynn Rider, they're friends, but in a Fatal 4-Way, you can't have friends, because 2 you can't advance. It's only 1, and that's it.
You can have as many temporary alliances as you want, but at the end of the day, it's always going to be temporary. You're going to have to focus on who else is going to be in the ring with you. Look out here.
Wow.
Ernest Wright almost got crushed.
Big power bomb there from Thanos to Hades. We're going to see those two squaring off quite a bit in this matchup. I get the feeling here is now Thanos firmly in control inside the ring of Flynn Rider. And again, that's something that Hades, Aladdin on the outside have to be aware of. Anything that happens inside the ring, they have to be ready to pounce to make sure they break up that pinfall or submission.
Something else I notice is that at ringside, Aladdin brought out a steel chair. It's Fatal 4-Way rules, which means no countouts, no disqualifications. Pinfall or submission is the only way that's going to win it. But it's only the first pinfall or submission, so you're going to be seeing people rush up to break up pins as often as they can.
I mentioned about the fact that a lot of our Paramount card has been put together. We're kind of tying up some loose ends here this evening in the go-home show. Of course, this will determine the final competitor in the triple threat for the Intercontinental Championship. Later on tonight, we're going to find out the #1 contenders for the women's tag team titles, and then also tonight in our main event, if Carson Gum, who's been able to so far fan the flames in his own goblet of fire, he's been able to take down Dumbledore, been able to take down Hagrid, if he can defeat the Wayfinder Cruiser Champion Harry Potter here tonight, Carson Gum and Harry Potter will face off with the title on the line next week at the Showcase of the Immortals.
Was standing tall above everybody for a moment there. I feel like he might have given me a bit of a side eye there.
And now just lifting Aladdin high. Aladdin's not used to that altitude without a magic carpet underneath him.
I've been there before, Aladdin.
Thanos in with the cover, and Aladdin able to kick out at 1. Didn't look like Thanos had that much of a cover on him there, though, and it was a rather weak kick out by Aladdin, so that could be a telltale sign if you're Thanos and wanting to put this thing away pretty soon. But Aladdin, nice roll up there off the Hurricane Rana. Might have taken Thanos by surprise.
Maybe. I definitely think he wasn't expecting that, but look at that stunner. Immediately knocked Thanos right back onto the floor. Now has him up again. Irish whip. Dropkick did not look like it was as effective as he wanted it to be.
Oh, well, I think both Flynn and Aladdin wanted the same move on Thanos. Aladdin says, pardon me.
Look at this.
Oh, gracious.
And now a kendo stick to the head.
Cover in here by Hades. Fatal 4-Way rules. There's no rope breaks. I believe that right foot was underneath the rope.
Here we go. The big man at it again.
Here we go. Oh wow, Aladdin just intercepted. Just intercepted that Irish whip and drop kicked Thanos in the side of the head.
He intercepted that move, and for a moment he was the only one standing, or so was Hades, who rushes over to break that pin up. But man, this just shows you got to keep your head on a swivel in a Fatal 4-Way.
Armbar locked in here by Aladdin of Flynn Rider. Thanos quick to be able to break that up. Also still to come tonight, we've got ourselves a tag team match where we will see the champions and the challengers for a couple of respective titles that will be on the line at Paramount, squaring off against each other. Mulan, the #1 contender for the Women's World Championship, and the Hardcore champion Harley Quinn taking on the Hardcore #1 contender Jessica Shelton and the Women's World Champion of the Galaxy Elizabeth Swan.
Did you see that drop kick by Aladdin?
I think that Hades may have seen it better than I did.
He really did. I think his forehead's completely busted open now after that.
Massive clothesline on the outside there from Thanos to Flynn Rider. That was pretty close to that metal grating that separates the ramp from the area around ringside. I don't know if Flynn hit that or not. He's just now starting to move. As inside of the ring, Hades down.
Oh, Aladdin was trying to go after Thanos there. I think they were trying to fight each other to see who could get the pin on the Hades first, but neither of them really came out on top of that exchange.
And I'm just being told here that there is going to be another match on the Paramount card that has not been announced yet. Hold on. Kick out there by Thanos. The fallout of what we saw this past Saturday night at FWE Extra. We saw the incredible, surprising return of Anthony McCrory. We saw him, let's be honest, lay the beat down on Michael Norman a few weeks after Michael put Anthony through our announce table. We've been talking about the cracks in the family. We've just been informed that at Paramount, it will be Michael Norman against Anthony McCrory, a submission match, and there's a lot on the line here, Jack. For Michael Norman, if Anthony wins, Anthony will be the new leader of the family. Michael will have to step down from leadership. However, if Michael Norman is on the winning side, as Hades with a cover here on Aladdin, and that'll get broken up. If Michael wins, Anthony is out of the family for good.
How about that? And in a submission match, too. That's basically saying you've got to give me respect. Here's the cover. That gets broken up. But yeah, that's basically saying that you're the only way to win the match is to basically get the other opponent to quit. That's going to be something.
Cover here by Aladdin on Flynn Rider to advance to Paramount, and Flynn will kick out at 2, much to the dismay of the Diamond in the Rough. And you know, as I'm looking at this here as well, it's looking like that matchup between Anthony and Michael is going to be the only match on the card where there's no gold on the line, but I would hazard a guess that there's just as much, if not more, on the line than a title belt.
Absolutely. I mean, it's determining the future of the faction as a whole. Does it continue with one out of the faction completely, or do they have new leadership, and do they change the way things work?
Tombstone on the floor! Aladdin's done.
His brain might be shut down completely after that.
There is absolutely no way he can get back into this. Somehow he's back to his feet. I don't even know how.
I don't know how we don't need a medic for this guy. Look out!
Getting a little precariously close out here at ringside. Wouldn't mind seeing this action go back inside the ring, or maybe the other side. Flynn with a DDT there to Thanos. I believe that was Alabama Slam from Hades to Aladdin.
These guys have to figure out what their limit is going to be, because at some point you've got to realize that this is for a spot at Paramount. You might not be at 100% going into that matchup.
Great point. Great point. I mean, Robbie Gilvin right now would have the champion's advantage in more ways than one, in the fact he'll be going to that matchup the freshest. We saw Carlos Zimmerman a couple of weeks ago advance into that triple threat, so he'll be maybe close to 100%, but there's no way with how long this matchup has gone, the punishment we've seen dealt out and received, there's no way any of these individuals, regardless of who moves on, is going to be going into that title matchup at 100%.
Absolutely. Look out, though, if you're Flynn Rider. Aladdin, the stunner.
Got to get him back in the ring, though. You can't get the pinfall submission from outside of the ropes. That's why referee Ernest Wright is not budged from his position in there. He's waiting to see whoever gets deposited in where the pinfall submission takes place inside of the ring. That's when he will begin the 3 count as Hades, midsection, I think that went right into the corner of our announce table.
Up close and personal for a moment. I I think Thanos actually a little bit earlier had a bit of a moment where he was yelling at Ernest Wright
Oh
for a
my
second.
gosh!
How is Aladdin still standing?
I think he was going for a move on the top rope. He slipped. His leg wrapped around the ring post, and then the crash to the floor didn't help matters any.
I don't know how his leg is not broken. I don't
Me
know how
either.
his brain is not bleeding. I don't know. I just don't understand. He has found something extra in this matchup, and sometimes that is just what it takes.
Aladdin is known for his high flying, but right there, that very nearly could have maybe even cost him his FWE career. Is still fishing out offense here on the outside, and you saw Hades was staying there inside the ring. He gotten himself a little bit of a respite here. Hades might have found a second win. Oh gosh!
Oh my goodness! And he just jets right back up to his feet, and he's still dishing out those moves of offense like Hurricane Ranas that rely heavily upon the legs. I don't know how he's still going.
Oh my goodness.
He's got his lights have to be out.
Whether Aladdin advances to Paramount or not, he's going to be dreaming about ring posts tonight, and it won't be in a good way as Hades, upper shoulders, lower back into the top of the barricade.
And Flynn Rider just got tossed aside, and he landed on the steel chair and slid on the ground while that
Oh,
steel chair was under him.
no, not again!
Somebody get a medic out here.
That is the second tombstone that Aladdin has taken on the outside of the ring.
He has not moved. Somehow trying to work his way back up to his feet.
Oh, he got some assistance there from Hades as here inside the ring. Flynn Rider cover in on Thanos to advance, and Hades was able to get there in time to break it up.
Where in the world did Hades come from? He was outside the ring when that first started. He flew in there like a cruise missile to break that one up.
Big splash to Thanos. Aladdin is down. Now it's Flynn Rider and Hades as Flynn up over the top rope.
Here we go.
Oh my gosh.
Felt like this match was overdue for a little bit of 10 beats.
It's bad enough you get it from an individual the same size as you. You get it from someone the size of Hades. It's got to be even worse. The lower center of gravity just raining down those fists into your chest.
And Aladdin just taking more punishment to the back.
If Aladdin wins this matchup, I swear.
I don't know how they're going to be able to have the match at Paramount if he wins it.
No.
Like, he's going to have to go to the hospital. Either way.
I hope the ramp isn't. Oh my gosh, not a
again.
third!
Get a medic. What are we doing?
It's all for the chance to go to Paramount. I mean, this is what they signed up for, but I still don't get how Aladdin's got to be running on fumes right now. He's got to be running on adrenaline. There's no way he even knows where he's at right now.
I don't know how he's still fighting. I don't know how he's up and running around and dishing out all these moves like that DDT. This is all just to get into the show. This is all just to get into the title fight.
And even then, there's not a guarantee. It's not even a one-on-one. It's a triple threat. You're already having to go through a fatal four-way. You're going to have to go into another multi-man match within a week's time.
So weapons and all that stuff is going to be legal again.
Exactly. Same deal as what we're seeing right now.
I mean, on one hand, you would think the prize makes it absolutely worth it because, you know, it's a title opportunity at our biggest show of the year. But at the same time, you want to be as ready for that title opportunity. There's the fourth one.
Gosh. And it's all been Aladdin. It has all been Aladdin. The punishment of the tombstones on the outside have been completely one-sided.
Please get this man some help. And now Hades might also want some help. This is going to be painful.
I mean, look at this. Even the big man, Thanos, is busted open. Hades has been bleeding since maybe about 5 minutes into this matchup.
Oh! Massive kick by Flynn Rider to Thanos.
Hades the only man inside the ring. Now Thanos deposited in by Flynn.
Oh, no. Flynn, you turned your attention to the wrong spot. You might have just given Hades his prey. Well, as I
Spear
say
to the
that,
outside here.
he might become the prey.
Yeah, he might very well. Aladdin may have just fed Flynn into Hades as Hades might have been going for that choke slam. Nice elbow to fight out of it by Flynn Rider. Oh, might be looking. Oh, hold on. Oh, I thought that Aladdin might have been going for the 619 there, but Flynn was able to get off that middle rope.
think that was countered somehow. Everybody being sent down to the floor. Thanos. Oh, I thought he was going up to the top rope for a second.
Aladdin with a standing moonsault there to Flynn Rider. And now Thanos. Oh, massive side slam there to Flynn Rider. Flynn may be out. DDT by Aladdin. No way.
No
way. Is Aladdin going to pull this off to go to Paramount?
No.
Hades says no.
Hades barely got there at the last possible second, and now he has a golden opportunity to dish out the last bit of punishment.
Oh,
Here he
no.
goes.
Oh, no. Up and down with a choke slam
Good
goes Aladdin.
night.
This is going to have to be it. Hades to go to Paramount for the triple threat. He's done it. It will be Hades, Carlos Zimmerman, Robbie Gilvin in 1 week's time.
Triple threat for the Intercontinental Championship is locked in. I'm not exactly sure what the mood is if you're Robbie Gilvin, knowing that this man is your challenger or one of your challengers in this matchup.
Works of art all hey, dedicated to me.
Here
The
we
amount
go.
of punishment we saw dealt out in this fatal four-way. I mean, even the winner there, you can see the wounds of war born on the face of Hades as he takes one step closer to maybe his first singles championship here in FWE. Still a lot more to determine for our card at Paramount, and it continues up next after this break.
People have doubted me since day one, saying I was just riding on the coattails of the crew. But then I showed them. I won Money in the Bank. I cashed in. I became the FWE Women's World Champion, and I have successfully defended it night after night. Now I head into my toughest match yet, to perform under the bright lights of FWE Paramount, with one of the toughest women on the roster ready to do anything it takes to win my title. Believe me, I do not take Mulan lightly. But I also feel that every match I've gone through has me well prepared. So now I focus up, keep a wary eye on the horizon and see the task before me. I will walk into Paramount with this belt, and I will be walking out still your FWE Women's World Champion.
Back here inside of the FWE Fantasy Dome, it's time now to determine the #1 contenders for the Females Tag Team Championships.
Is a tag team match set for one fall. On the way to the ring, the Bad Girls.
The Daughters of Thanos, former tag team champions in their own right, Gamora and Nebula. We saw them knock off Disney Strong Style, Kita and Esmeralda, to make their way here into these finals. We've talked about it, Jack. We've never had multi-time women's tag team champions here in FWE. 5 teams have held those tag team title belts, but all have held it one time each. Daughters of Thanos could make history if they walk into Paramount and take the titles from the Disney Queens.
I mean, it feels like a game of hot potato at this point here in the women's tag division, but it just goes to show you how many fantastic teams we have in the women's tag division. So I'm really interested to see how the finals of this #1 contenders tournament plays out. It's been a very fun tournament to watch so far.
And their opponents.
Black Widow and Shuri making quite an impact here in the women's tag team division. Saw them tag for the very first time to begin this tournament, and they have turned back some very formidable opponents, including more recently former tag team champions and Team Let It Go, Anna and Elsa. They've in a sense kind of been the underdogs here in the matchups they've had on their side of the bracket. Might be the underdogs again here in this matchup, going up against a team that has formerly held Tag Team Championship gold, but opportunity here for both of them to maybe make their way to Paramount, maybe get their first championships here as a tag team.
You know, I talked about a little bit earlier in this show about how every now and then you might find one of those unexpected tag team pairings that you might not think has as much chemistry together, but then they get in the ring together and they're kicking all kinds of butt.
Black Widow, of course, coming off a bit of momentum as well. We ended up seeing a bit of a referee era in a tag team matchup, a mixed tag team matchup a couple of weeks ago on FWE Extra. Black Widow pinned. The referee counted 3. Her foot was clearly on the ropes. Got a little level of revenge against Moana in one-on-one action as she forced Moana to tap out. So riding a bit of a winning streak here coming into this. We'll see if that helps Black Widow and Shuri in turn to maybe be able to win this match. But look at this, talking about the Black Widow, locks it in here in the early going on Nebula.
Gamora very quickly, though, getting into the ring to break that one up, and Nebula dishing out a little bit of extra punishment. Gamora is going to focus on the illegal participant on the other team as well as she tosses Shuri outside the ring.
And
Black
submission
Widow's
in
walking
again. More than likely not going to get a submission victory here on Nebula that quickly. I mean, Nebula, as we mentioned, is a former tag team champion, a former female fighting champion. We saw that title on the line earlier on tonight. Congratulations to Yzma for picking up her first singles title here in FWE. But if anything, right now you're using that Black Widow submission to wear Nebula down.
Absolutely. It's not going to win the match this quickly, but if you can wear your opponent down, it only helps to work the match in your favor.
1 week from tonight, it's the big one, folks. We've been building up to it. We've been anticipating it. October 30th, 7 o'clock, next Thursday night. We're at Paramount here in FWE as cover in by Nebula and Black Widow. Kick out at 1. One of these two teams, they're going to Paramount. They will take on Rapunzel and Belle, the Disney Queens, for the Women's Disney Tag Team titles.
And again, I bring up the same point in the last match, the Fatal 4-Way that we just watched on the men's side. You don't really want to spend too much energy in this one or work too hard, because obviously while you do, the ultimate goal is to get to the big show and win the Tag Team Championship, as there's a huge clothesline by Gamora, but at the same time, you want to make sure you're as healthy as you can possibly be and you're as close to 100% when you get to the show of shows.
Shuri tagged in on the other side, so now she'll face off here against Nebula. Going to try and go for the pin off the Hurricane Rana, and not even going to get a 1 count out of it. I don't know if it's Merkab of me. I don't recall if we've ever had a one-on-one here, or at least a face-off between Black Widow and Gamora, but just what the ending fate in their respective storylines in the MCU universe was, that's kind of interesting. Both of them have something in common, and it's called Vormir.
Definitely wonder if that would lead to some kind of pairing or anything else between the two of them in the middle of the ring. Shuri up on the shoulders of Nebula, going to be placed onto the top turnbuckle. They look more like the middle turnbuckle than anything else.
If I'm not mistaken, ooh, wow, kick right there to the lower back. If I'm not mistaken, for both of these teams, both individuals for the respective teams have picked up a pinfall victory in this tournament. Nebula, back during the first round of their tournament here, is covering by Shuri and a kick out at 1. End up getting the pinfall. Gamora got the pinfall victory in the in the semifinals, I should say, for the Daughters of Thanos. And then for the Avengers, it was Black Widow that picked up the victory in the quarterfinals. Shuri got the pinfall in the semifinals, and right there, Nebula almost was able to get the victory against Shuri, but a kick out at 1.
I mentioned it a little bit earlier in the show, but this matchup right here is exactly the reason why Nebula was not in that Battle Royal for the Female Fighting Championship. Obviously, she probably wants a rematch after losing that title inside the Elimination Chamber at Mortal Kombat, but you got to focus on getting into Paramount, and if that's for the tag team championships, then so be it. Superman punch.
Superman punch to the side of the head here by Nebula. Does not go for the cover, however. Now just going to rein in the boots, and now looks to maybe wear down Shuri. Going to put in that arm lock there, and Nebula doing her homework. We ended up seeing a very impressive press slam finisher out of Shuri in the semifinal matchup that allowed the Avengers to advance into this tournament finals.
Tag is made on the other end, though, so now both teams make a tag, make a participant switch as there's a punch to the gut by Black Widow. And she locks in the submission again. That's her go-to. Looks like both members of the Daughters of Thanos have done a good job reading up on how to get out of that submission. They've both broken it up multiple times.
Now Black Widow just crumbles to the mat after that devastating forearm. Shot to the gut, though. by Natasha Romanoff, and a little reversal back and forth here. Now Gamora gets the upper hand into the side Russian leg sweep.
Crowd loving what they see here. That could fire you up if this crowd gets even louder as the match goes along.
Pop-up forearm there by Gamora, now going up top. Could be looking for that shooting star press. No, instead calling Black Widow up to her feet and gonna hit the flying forearm.
Is that going to be enough? She's not quite going into the cover just yet. I think she's going to go make the tag.
Nebula in. Oh, Nebula with the back elbow. And Shuri knew that was going to be it. Quickly in to break that up.
Man, I can hear that one from outside the arena, if I'm being honest.
Moonsault by Nebula off the middle rope. Gamora and Shuri locking up out here. I don't think Gamora all that happy that Shuri broke up that pinfall. That was their opportunity to go to Paramount. Now Shuri back in. Gamora's got to get herself over to her corner just in case Nebula wants to make a tag.
Absolutely. Everybody got to kind of clear their heads for a minute, reposition themselves. Is Nebula going to focus on the illegal participant, but it was reversed by Black Widow.
Loaded on the rope, referee beginning the 10 count. Remember, we've already seen in this tournament a team get eliminated via a count out. Everybody's favorite move here in the FWE Fantasy Dome.
I don't even know what we're counting to at this point.
Gosh!
Oh, look out. There were two counts going on at the same time. One was the referee count, the other one was 10 beats to the battering.
Yeah, the ref was a little slower on his count, I think. We got to 10 when he got to 5. But with Nebula exiting out of the ring, you see the referee's count reset.
Well, while the crowd may love the 10 beats count a little bit more, the referee's count is ultimately what matters, because if he does reach 10, that's a count-out victory, and we have our winners. And in this particular case, we'd have our new #1 contenders for the women's tag team titles.
Absolutely. You've got to think that both Belle and Rapunzel, they have been keeping a very close eye on this tournament, scouting out who their future opponents are going to be. Got ourselves a pretty stacked women's tag team division here. A lot of teams. We've seen maybe some that have been formed, some kind of strange alliances, but nonetheless, been some great tag team action here in these last few weeks in preparation to see who's going to be making it to Paramount to challenge the Disney Queens. And Shuri cleaning out both the daughters of Thanos here.
Back and forth we go. It feels like no team has really been able to have a stranglehold on the momentum. There was a huge kick by Shuri.
Flatliner on the outside to Gamora. These are the two legal participants right here. Referee at a count of 4.
Nobody wants this match to end by countout, but I feel like they would take it if you're the competitors. You might be thinking differently.
By hook or by crook. As long as you're on that Paramount match card. As Gamora looked like she was going to try and put Shuri into the ring there. Oh, we've got to get both the women in there, and we will at 9.
I think they heard the 8 count and decided that's enough. Let's take this back inside the ring.
Springboard forearm there by Gamora. Cover is in. Black Widow, you could see there in the background, was ready to pounce, break that up before referee's hand came down for the 3 count. Oh, wow! Spin kick on the button. Is that going to do it? It will, and the Daughters of Thanos are going to Paramount to fight for the women's tag team titles.
Gamora knows a thing or two about winning a tag team tournament. She was successful alongside yours truly in the Mixed Match Challenge. Now, she and her sister are successful in the #1 contenders tournament. And there you go. Your matchup for Paramount is confirmed. The Daughters of Thanos taking on the Disney Queens. More FWE coming up after the break.
I may have the appearance of a princess, but I have the heart of a warrior. Don't take the glitz and glamour at face value. I've quickly adapted to how one survives on the street, and am not afraid to get down and dirty if the situation requires it. Using my wide variety of skills, I'm ready to stay one jump ahead of the competition and enter into a whole new world of championship gold. My name is Jasmine, and with my girls, we're ready to take over the FWE Women's Division with an iron fist. I'm trapped behind the palace walls no longer.
Jasmine, a member of the Disney Queens. We know that we'll see a number of her faction members at Paramount, including the Women's Tag Team Champions. Also, our Women's Royal Rumble winner, Mulan, the #1 contender for the Women's World Championship, who is in action here tonight in tag team battles.
Should be a very, very interesting match on tonight's card, as both of the challengers are going to team up against both of the champions.
And you know, it kind of looked like it was just going to be a normal, mutual respect, one-on-one matchup between Mulan and the Women's World Champion, Elizabeth Swann, until it got taken to a new level. We saw a great matchup between Poison Ivy and Elizabeth Swann. Immediately following that matchup, Mulan strikes and puts Elizabeth Swann through a table. Thus, the Women's World Championship will be on the line in 1 week's time in a 2 out of 3 tables match. And we've talked at length about this. It's a first that'll be occurring in FWE.
Yeah, the 2 out of 3 tables match definitely going to be one of our more brutal match types. I say that, though, and here comes Harley Quinn, who's basically been the master of the Gotham Rules match stipulation.
Saw her debut that at Mortal Kombat in her hardcore title defense against Ariel. Also had the title on the line in an open challenge against Jessica Shelton, and was so impressed with the fight that Jess put up, offered the challenge once again, a rematch against Jessica Shelton at Paramount, but doubling the time. It's an expedited Iron Woman match of 10 minutes, but Harley gonna up the ante here and said, but we double that clock and make it a 20-minute matchup. Jessica Shelton accepting said challenge, but as you said, it's the brainchild of Harley Quinn, so you are definitely a pure Shelton. Even though you've got the prior experience from being involved in a Gotham Rules match, you're still coming into that type of a matchup as the away team.
Absolutely, and it's going to be even more brutal if it's 20 minutes long. I mean, both competitors are going to have to dig deep for that one.
We saw Jessica Shelton burst on the scene back at, was it Mortal Kombat, or was it the Go Home show before Mortal Kombat? I believe it was the Go Home show before Mortal Kombat, when Autumn Brooks said she had a tag team partner to fight for the Women's Disney Tag Team titles. It ended up being Jess. And since then, she's been able to make quite a name for himself in singles competition. I mean, that mutual respect there that we saw from Harley Quinn, I mean, it's very rare, especially when we end up having a PLE coming up like Paramount. It's usually where a challenger issues an opportunity at a champion for a title belt, or they earn it or something like that. This was a straight up Harley Quinn requesting this matchup. She wanted the match against Jessica.
Yeah, that can be a little bit rare, but at the same time, I think it goes to show that it's the champion that chose the challenger. She had enough mutual respect where she believed that Jess warranted a rematch, so I almost kind of wonder, maybe she has something up her sleeve in that Gotham Rules match. Or maybe she's also just absolutely insane and loves to dish out that kind of punishment.
Could be right on that. I mean, the thing of it is, I kind of feel, but again, I'm not the one that invented this matchup. I'm not Harley Quinn. I don't want to be inside the head of Harley Quinn. It feels like with everything that's available to you in a Gotham Rules match, there's not a whole lot that you can exploit. But then again, it's the brainchild of Harley Quinn, so I'm sure she knows some way around some of the non-rules, if you will, that are entailed in a Gotham Rules matches. Elizabeth Swann, gotta think, still feeling the effects of being put through a table by Mulan. We've heard her say she doesn't take Mulan lightly. Well, Mulan kind of upping the ante here, and now Elizabeth Swann gonna have to kind of get her hands dirty, I guess, in her upcoming championship matchup at Paramount. But let's not forget as well, Elizabeth Swann is a former 2-time hardcore champion, so I'm not necessarily certain that if you're Mulan the challenger, you want to be going into a 2 out of 3 tables match against somebody that's got quite a career in the hardcore world before she became Women's World Champion.
Yeah, it can certainly be a brutal match type to take on regardless. I mean, it may not be as brutal as a Gotham Rules match, but to have to put your opponent through 2 tables, like you said, Seth, you're going to have to get your hands dirty whether you want to or not.
Not sure if our ring announcer Mike Rome is on strike or what. He didn't apparently want to call any of these women down to the ring, but maybe saving his voice for Paramount.
More talking for us, I guess.
Yeah.
Elizabeth Swann, of course, by the time she gets to Paramount, her reign will have lasted 162 days, easily the longest reigning champion in FWE so far. We'll see if she continues to hold her iron grip on that Women's World Championship of the Galaxy when we get to the show of shows.
And she's been really good at PLEs as well. Of course, cashed in Money in the Bank at Sugar Rush, defended the title against Shuri at Infinity War Games, defended it against Autumn Brooks at both Royal Brawl, and then a few weeks later at Saturday night's main event. She was not in action at Mortal Kombat, but this will be the 4th PLE that she will defend the title at, and her numbers at the big shows are really, really good. We'll have to see if she can keep that streak going. As you said, currently nearing over 160 days as Women's World Champ.
Everybody in this matchup knows what's going to be on the line at Paramount. Again, I'm going to bring it up. You want to be at 100% when you go into those title opportunities at that show. And I think you should be a little bit worried if you're either Jessica Shelton or Harley Quinn, because you're already going to be in a very, very brutal match type next week.
First exchange we've ever seen here in FWE between Mulan and Jessica Shelton, starting for their respective teams. And here's the tag from Jess to Elizabeth Swann. This is going to be interesting as well because, I mean, kind of strange bedfellows here in terms of tag team partners. Elizabeth Swann and Jess, they've never teamed up together. Neither have Mulan and Harley Quinn. So the chemistry is obviously not going to be there. You're going to have to find it pretty quickly.
Well, the chemistry looked like it was there on that move earlier in the matchup. They had a bit of a combined move, did Jess and Elizabeth. Oh!
Now Mulan with a clothesline. Elizabeth Swann over the top. Harley Quinn looked like she might have been trying to take advantage of that situation. Nice sidestep there by Mulan. And an opportunity here as well, if you're Mulan or if you're Jessica Shelton, maybe do a little bit of damage to the champions you're going to be going up against, maybe gain an upper hand in your title match 1 week from tonight.
Mulan wanted to do that. She teased us a little bit because she immediately went for the tag.
And now here comes Jessica Shelton. We're going to see these two squaring off. Gotham Rules 20 minutes hardcore title on the line at Paramount. Nice move there by Jessica Shelton on Harley Quinn. Almost like a modified brain buster, and now going to go for it again.
I think we've seen enough brain busters for one day, especially if you're Aladdin.
I think you're correct. Spear takes Harley Quinn down. And a second one.
Definitely one of the more unusual spears I've seen. She didn't really get much of a running start like we typically see. She just kind of got up to her feet and launched into it.
It's almost like a tackle, right?
I'd say so, yeah.
Harley Quinn in the wrong part of town right now. Here's the tag to Elizabeth Swann. Might be looking for that double team move once again. The drop toe hold into the elbow. Maybe a little strategy backstage talked out there between Elizabeth and Jessica. Is a nice float over bulldog by the Women's World Champion. Goes in for the cover. Champion pinning champion here. And kick out at 1 by Harley Quinn.
May not have had that history in the ring before, but they've certainly had some discussions backstage. They've kind of figured out what their strategy is going to be. Those combined moves have been effective so far.
Well, obviously, the pairing here of these respective teams, you've got a challenger and a champion for 2 titles. They'll be on the line at Paramount on either side of the ring. I don't really think Elizabeth Swann, Harley Quinn have any personal beef with each other. Same for Mulan or Jessica Shelton, but We talk a lot about momentum. We mentioned about Black Widow, who, we now know, unfortunately, she and Shuri are eliminated from competing for the women's tag team titles at Paramount, but we were talking about momentum coming into the finals match for her. What about for these 4 women? For the winning side, is there any type of momentum going into Paramount at all?
I think so. I mean, you want to be able to enter. I talk about how I think it's a bit more important that you enter healthy at 100%, but at the same time, if you can go in on a winning note as well, you're going to be in a lot better place mentally.
Side Russian leg sweep there by Harley Quinn. Takes down Jessica Shelton. Tag now into Mulan. And Mulan gonna fly up over the top and takes out Jess with a seated senton.
That was a fantastic move. But is it going to be enough? Action is spilled ringside. Mulan tried grabbing at Jess there, but Jess was able to get back in the ring, and now Mulan will say, all right, fine, I'll go to my opponent at Paramount. Oh!
Midsection into the steel steps, trying to dish out punishment. Jess with a spear on the other side as well, taking out the champion that she'll be facing off against in a week's time.
Our referee has reached a count of 6.
I believe it's going to reset there when Jess exited out of the ring. Now looking for an underhook overhead suplex. Oh, look at this, going back over there to Harley Quinn.
Oh, Harley tried to take that cheap shot there. Might be thinking about another one.
Oh, distraction. Oh! Sweeps out the legs. Jess's head bounced off of the ring apron.
Here we go again.
All over again. Here we go. Mulan trying to wear out Elizabeth Swan, who she'll be fighting for the championship next week at Paramount. Just broke it up, but at what cost? She gets delivered with a kick.
Only 6 count this time, but I don't know if Mulan was paying attention because Elizabeth Swan just got tagged in. Here we go with that spinning head scissors.
Seen Elizabeth Swan disorient her opponents with that move. Usually sets up for the Pirates plunge that we now know is not always going to put the opponent away. Poison Ivy able to kick out of it in the recent memory. Is nice tilt-a-whirl backbreaker there by Elizabeth Swan.
Hot tag is made though. Here comes Harley Quinn.
Hits the inverted atomic drop. Might be going for a second one. Oh, might be going for a trifecta here. That will wrench your tailbone.
That is painful to just be driven into the ring feet first like that, as there's, I think, another Russian leg sweep.
And floats over into the right hands. Covers in here by Harley Quinn. And Jessica Shelton gonna break it up.
This match is starting to drag on a little bit here. I feel like some of the competitors in here were kind of hoping that it may have been put away by now because, again, you want to be as close to 100% as you can possibly be when you get to Paramount next week.
Oh! Nice flatliner there by Elizabeth Swan, but she's not the legal competitor, I don't believe. Or is she?
I think she is.
I lost track of who it was that was legal for Elizabeth and Jess's side.
There's a little bit of chaotic action in that one, but referee Ernest Wright doing a good job keeping track of everything. Is look out here.
Mulan like a missile. Hits the flying shoulder tackle into Elizabeth Swan. And hits a massive Superman punch off the ropes. Now a knee right into the cheekbone.
Looking to dish out as much punishment to her opponent as she possibly can.
You know, you think about the Disney Queens as a faction, and really before Royal Brawl, when Mulan ended up winning that Women's Royal Rumble, hold on, cover in here after the drop kick by Harley Quinn. Oh, I thought that was going to be 3, but Elizabeth just slips out at 2. But since then, you've had a multi-time hardcore champion and Ariel. The women's tag team titles currently in the possession of Rapunzel and Belle. I mean, the Disney Queens, ever since Royal Brawl, Royal Brawl, they've actually come a long way as a faction and been able to accumulate a lot of championship gold. For Mulan, she'd love to add the Women's World Championship to that resume next week.
Absolutely. I mean, any opportunity you can take, you get it.
Champion in control of challenger for that Women's World Championship. Inverted atomic drop there by Elizabeth Swan. Now Mulan into the corner, tag is in, here comes Jess.
It's a big uppercut.
Oh, massive hip attack. That could be it. Cover is in, and Harley gonna break it up.
I was a little bit worried. She might have been just a little bit slow trying to break that one up, and now Mulan's in all kinds of trouble.
Oh boy, Jess loading up here, might be looking for that Asuka lock. Asuka, one of her favorite wrestlers, and she's taking a page out of that playbook. Is Mulan gonna tap? Jess might have actually released the hold there. I couldn't tell. Didn't really look like Mulan fought out of it.
There was a bit of a push from the back, so I think that was the case.
Now the octopus armbar locked in here. The octopus lock. Is Mulan gonna tap? Yes! Mulan gives up, couldn't even tap, had to verbally give up.
That is going to be brutal momentum for Mulan. You're going into your match at Paramount with the title on the line next week, and you tap out the week before. Not good vibes.
And how about the fact that Jess won with a submission? We know Harley Quinn loves the Gotham's Gate. Just saying, hey, I've got something to counter that. I can play the submission game as well. We still have our main event to come to see if we will even have a cruiserweight matchup at Paramount. It's Carson Gum, the final hurdle, Harry Potter, and that's coming up here next tonight on FWE.
Jessie, you fight pretty good, honey. And I'll admit, you got guts. There aren't many women on this roster that would have agreed to meet me in this ring on my terms. Heck, there aren't many women on this roster that would have taken me to the limit that you did. Am I crazy for saying that I had the most fun that I've ever had in a long time? 'Cause it's true. So, Jessie, I have a proposal for you. How about you and I take each other to the ultimate limit? How about we go back to Gotham Rules for, say, 20 minutes? See who can really last longest. Oh, and to really whet your appetite, how about we do it on the grandest stage, FWE Paramount? No rules, no restrictions, just two tough gals kicking the ever-loving crap out of each other. And I know what you're thinking, but hardly, what if you lose the hardcore title along the way? Oh, sweetie, don't you worry your pretty little head about that. This title is not going anywhere. So, what do you say, Jessica? You, me, 20 minutes. Gotham Rules, Paramount, hardcore title on the line. Hope you accept pudding. I can't wait. Let's have some fun again.
We're back here on FWE, and Carson Gum was just making his way out to the ring. Harry Potter with a chop block there to the knee, preempting this matchup.
And the bell rings. They're not even inside the ring yet.
Harry Potter, the final hurdle that Carson has to overcome to be able to fight for the Wayfinder Cruiser Championship. And yeah, to your point, the bell rang. Referee's already beginning a 10 count here. Harry Potter targeting the leg of Carson Gum, does not want to have to defend that title next week.
I cannot believe what Harry Potter's been up to. I thought it was kind of diabolical almost, if you think about it, when he set Carson Gum up for this gauntlet that he had to go against the members of the Order. There's the cover.
Roll up here by Harry Potter to put Carson away. Kick out. Notice what leg he hooked there as well. It was the leg that he targeted just moments ago.
Absolutely, and I mean, you know, he already forced Carson to go through those two matchups, as I was saying. We don't even get a cruiserweight title fight at Paramount if Harry Potter is able to win this match, and already desperate to hold on to his championship, not even give Carson the opportunity.
Error right there, ring positioning by Harry Potter. Carson's arm was underneath the ropes, but now hits the float over DDT. Carson still down after the pre-match attack by Harry Potter, and to your point, Carson Gum, he had to go through Hagrid, he had to go through Albus Dumbledore. He's obviously not at 100% coming into this matchup, and that's outside of the chop block to the knee that he just suffered.
And Harry Potter, I just called it diabolical that he already set up that gauntlet for Carson, and now attacking him before the match has even begun. And apparently, I don't want to make any speculations here, but apparently, he could be paying somebody off behind the scenes too for that referee to call for the bell before both competitors were even inside the ring.
Could very well be continuing to target that leg, but now to the top rope. What a beautiful moonsault. Cover is in. Is this Carson's paramount hopes gone? No, he'll kick out at 1, but that leg, that left leg cannot be at 100%. Harry's been working on it, and we've seen Carson, the deceptive power. You need that vertical base to be able to deliver out that punishment.
There's a nice little neck breaker. That should hopefully even the odds for Carson just a little bit here. You talk about the deceptive strength, and he's going to need all of it, because not just for this match, but if he's able to win of what's to come in the following week.
Interesting point of note. Again, can't take anything for granted. Let's speculate that Carson does somehow won this gauntlet of fire. If he's successful tonight and gets a shot at the Cruiserweight Championship next week at Paramount, does this give him maybe a little bit of a mental advantage over Harry Potter in the fact I've already beaten you once, I can do it again on the biggest show of them all?
Absolutely. That's exactly what you want to be, talking to your competitor about. Our referees reached the count of 8, so they're going to have to quickly work their way back into the ring. But yeah, that's exactly the mentality that you want to have going into the biggest show of them all. You want to look your competitor in the eyes before the match and tell them, I already beat you once. I'm more than willing to do it again.
Carson Gum has put together some gutsy performances. We saw him kick out of the super curb stomp that Albus Dumbledore hit him with in that first matchup at 2. That shocked us to no end. Put up an incredible fight against the powerhouse of Hagrid. But now Harry Potter with a nice, I think that was a spinning arm drag there by the Cruiserweight Champion. Harry having to get this final rung in the gauntlet.
Oh.
Nice bridge there after the suplex. Is this going to be enough? And kick out at 1.
Again, though, it's worth noting that Harry started this matchup with a bit of an unfair advantage. Again, attacking Carson Gum during his entrance before the match even started. So Carson was already playing from behind, and now, bit of an Alabama slam, trying to go for the cover.
Chance to go to Paramount right here, and Harry Potter will kick out at 1. Again, remember, Harry Potter, the current Wayfinder Cruiser Champion, ended up winning that title belt inside of Elimination Chamber at our last PLE, Mortal Kombat. If Carson wins this matchup, it will be Harry Potter's first title defense with that belt. As Carson making sure that the ropes don't come into play, bringing Harry back towards the center of the ring. Looks like he's got that power game still there. That left leg's got to be a bit gamey, but Carson trying to fight through that pain.
Going to do everything he can, dragging Harry now to the center of the ring, has him in position. If he wants to do something to end the match now, this would be the perfect opportunity to do so, but Harry trying to fight back. Ooh, went for some kind of Hurricane Run or something right there. It didn't quite connect, and now Carson...
Oh, ropes, Carson. Oh, no, wow. I don't know how he didn't think that wasn't going to be a rope break. That was too close to both those corner ropes.
Absolutely, but now you see him kind of taunting the crowd a little bit, letting Harry Potter know who's in charge of this matchup. Another
now covers
cover.
In, away from the ropes. You see our referee making sure that the arm or the head was not underneath the rope. 2 count there for Carson, and now action will spill back to the outside.
I know this isn't the title match, but I feel like it would be huge for Carson on his own to win this match by itself, just considering the fact that he was attacked beforehand.
Deadlift here on the outside. He'll hit the Dominator. We saw him hit Hagrid with that. And now might be looking for the spinning powerbomb, but this is on the outside. The referee's at a count of 4. You got to get him back inside the ring.
4 is not a very high count yet, so Carson has plenty of time to make this happen. Oh, instead, though, I'm going to toss Harry into the LED ring post and take a little bit of extra time.
Go back to the outside there, reset the count. Surprising a count-out victory will be a victory nonetheless. There's no title on the line in this one, but may have just fed right into what Harry Potter wanted. Sling blade, drop kick combination.
I'll see him trying to get him back inside the ring. Harry desperate to not have to defend his title at Paramount. Carson determined to get a title opportunity at Paramount.
Bulldog on the
Lot of
outside there by
implications.
Harry Potter.
Count of 5. They're both back in the ring. Oh, look out!
Carson, end of days! End of days hits! Is this gonna be it? It is! Carson's done it!
Against all the odds, despite running that gauntlet of fire, Carson Gum emerges on top of it despite that pre-match attack by Harry Potter. And now the title opportunity is locked in. Let's take you one more time through your card here at FWE Paramount. As we mentioned, Carson Gum going to be taking on Harry Potter. The gauntlet is complete now, the ultimate test. The Wayfinder Cruiserweight Championship on the line.
Earlier on tonight, we saw the Daughters of Thanos win the finals. They're the new #1 contenders as they take on Rapunzel and Belle for the Women's Disney Tag Team titles. Daughters of Thanos looking to make history to be the first team to hold those championship belts more than once.
On the men's side of things, Robbie Gilvin, the current DC Intercontinental Champion holder, but 2 fatal 4-ways taking place these last few weeks, determining Carlos Zimmerman and Hades as the new #1 contenders. A triple threat matchup for that title is at Paramount.
One of the most brutal matchups we've ever seen in FWE. The time is doubled. 20 minutes inside of Gotham Rules. Harley Quinn requested this rematch with Jessica Shelton. The hardcore title will be on the line.
In the build-up to FWE Paramount, Matt McIntyre, the current United States Champion, hand-selected 8 opponents for a Battle Royal match to determine the #1 contender for that United States Championship. Harry Potter's prediction came correct that a member of the Order would win that matchup. It was Hagrid. Matt takes him on for the U.S. title.
Family ties have been severed as we will see a submission match between former brothers Michael Norman, Anthony McCreary. If Anthony wins, he's the new leader of the family. But if Michael wins, Anthony is out of the family for good.
Mulan was the winner of the Women's Royal Rumble match back at the Royal Brawl, and then in the build to Paramount, she put her opponent, the champion Elizabeth Swan, through a table, and that's going to lead to a first-of-its-kind match type. 2 out of 3 tables match at Paramount to determine the new Women's World Champion of the Galaxy.
And the Tri-Wizard Championship will be on the line. Ernie the Keebler Elf, the Royal Rumble winner. He's tried some underhanded tactics. He will look to claim that championship from my broadcast colleague Jack Mitchell. Ernie, Jack, Tri-Wizard Championship in our main event at FWE Paramount. Thank you all for tuning into our Go Home show. Next Thursday night, 7 p.m., join us for our biggest show of the year, FWE Paramount, the showcase of the Immortals. We will see you then here on FWE.